Republic, Matt Pearce here. It is an honor to serve as the superintendent for the Republic School District. And we're here tonight to talk to you a little bit about our upcoming bond election on Tuesday of next week. We're doing that on April the 4th. And we have a little presentation here for you today. We're going to answer some questions about that bond issue. So thank you for being with us. Let's talk about the what. $47 million bond issue. And you probably already know that we're talking about a 5th and a 6th grade elementary building to spend most of that money. And that 5th and the 6th grade elementary building will be built on some land that we currently have. And along with the $42 million that we're expecting the 5-6 building to cost, we're also looking to complete some additional projects that we'll talk a little bit later on in the presentation. Regardless of if the bond issue passes or does not pass, our levy will remain at the $4.12 that it currently is. I would now like to invite our board president, Mr. Travis Edwards, to the podium to share a little bit about the why of this bond measure.
Good evening, everyone. I want to thank you for being a part of this virtual event tonight. So as most of you know, Republic is a growing community. And one of the things I've appreciated about our administration, as soon as the city began to grow, we began to have a dialogue, our administrators began to have a dialogue with the city to really discover when we could expect more growth and where we could expect more growth. And so right now, as it stands, as far as growth, with the current housing developments under construction, we're expecting over the next 3 to 5 years an additional 1,000 students. That is a big jump in our enrollment. By comparison, we grew by 200 students in the last 3 years. So you can see that we are anticipating that we are going to receive a lot of new students in our district, and we want to be ready for that growth when it comes. We always try to be proactive as a school district. We don't want to be reactive, and so again, we have these conversations with the city to try and plan and be prepared. And so the new building, the new 5-6 building, would remove 400 students from the middle school, and it would also remove about 80 to 100 students from each elementary. And so let me just talk just for a moment about the transition that our students have to make right now when they go from 6th grade into the middle school. Many of you watching, you have had students make that jump, that transition from 6th grade to the middle school, and that is a big transition for our 6th graders right now. And so we're going to try to ease that transition from them. You know, they go from elementary where they don't move around at all in 5th grade, and then they go into the middle school and they change classes, and it's just a big adjustment for them. And so with this 5-6 building, we're going to be able to ease that transition for the 6th graders. We're going to be able to expand our curriculum for not only the 6th graders, but also our 5th graders. Right now, again, if you've had a 5th grader, you know that they're done with elementary. By the time they get to 5th grade, they're ready to move on to the next level. And so they're kind of in that stage where they're not really elementary, but they're not really ready for middle school. And so the 5-6 building is going to be a great transition for our 5-6 students. And so I'm really excited about this opportunity that we have. I'm grateful for the support that this community has shown our district through the years. And so thank you again for the opportunity to be able to visit with you tonight. And so I'm going to turn things over right now to Mr. Jason Perkins, and he is going to talk about planning and logistics.
All right, thank you, Mr. Edwards. So tonight I kind of want to bring everyone up to speed on where we've done, where we've been, and where we're headed for the planning and logistics of this new building. So our first meeting started in January with our architects to kind of get an initial idea of what we're looking for in this building. And then we were able to form a committee, district administrators, teachers, other faculty members, and we're able to go and visit different types of middle schools and 5-6 centers across Southwest Missouri and up in the Kansas City area. And then we also were able to do something that's pretty unique. We were able to hold a workshop with some of our 5th and 6th grade students throughout the district to get an idea of what a 5th and 6th grader would want to see in a building. So we're able to gather all that information together, and we met with some teacher focus groups and our key communicator group to get their input. And then also, as Mr. Edwards discussed earlier, we did have very extensive meetings with the City of Republic discussing where they think growth is going to go and where our growth is. And then just all those pieces together have allowed us to get a good idea of our planning process. And so as we move forward, if the bond is passed next week, construction can start this summer, early fall, and with a completion date of the fall of 2025. And so as we continue the process of planning and designing and doing all the logistics of the building, we will continue to seek input from those key stakeholders in our community. And so now I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Pearce, and he's going to talk about the cost of the building.
Thank you, Mr. Perkins. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the budget. As I mentioned previously, we're estimating around $42 million. And when you see a picture of the land, or if you've driven by the land that we own, it is currently farmland. And that means that there are no roads. There is a water tower very close by. There are utilities on Highway 60, but we are going to have to spend some money on developing the land and making sure that we can have all the roads that are necessary for the car line and the bus line and the parking lots and all those things. So it's more than just building a school. It's building from the ground up, literally, of farmland to a more urban setting with a building on it and multiple parking lots and car lines. So we're hoping that bid comes in at around $42 million. Again, this building is going to be designed for 1,000 students. And when you think about 1,000 students, you're thinking about 2 grade level cohorts of 500 students per class. And right now we have grade level cohorts that range from 430 down to about 390 at our lowest. One of our high school classes, I think our graduating seniors might be a little bit under that, but those are the types of class sizes that we need to be prepared for. And we're building this building to be prepared for class sizes of 500, so that when we open the doors, we're not already looking to expand because we've got more students than we can handle. We are estimating around 70 staff members in this building, and some features that we've been focusing on as part of this building process and listening to students and parents and teachers and focus groups are that natural light is a big thing. Some flexible learning spaces, being able to use every inch of the building, because buildings are very expensive. And how do we take advantage of all the spaces in the building that we can make collaborative areas for students and staff, as well as those instructional classrooms. So $42 million, again, that's an estimate, and we're moving forward on the budget with that in mind. Okay, we had asked our community members to submit some questions to us, and we've got a few of those that we would like to answer. Thank you to those people who did submit questions. The first question, and probably the most frequent question that I get, is what really does a no tax rate increase mean? How does that happen? And it's not a super easy process to explain, but generally speaking, here's how it goes. The district has debt from previous buildings and bond issues that we've run. And over time, we pay down our debt and we develop what's called bonding capacity. And so when you develop that bonding capacity and you have enough to build a building, and for a community like ours that is growing, that means we can take care of our needs without increasing taxes. We do it by extending the debt 2 years, not increasing how much we pay. So that's how we run a no tax rate increase bond. Like I said, it's not super easy to understand, but paying down our debt and also the evaluation of everything that we own and our real property, our homes, that goes up and our bonding capacity increases as we pay down that debt. So with both those things happening, we're in a pretty good spot to run a $47 million no tax rate increase bond. Currently, our debt would go through 2041. This would extend it by 2 years. And I would also share that, some people would ask the next question is, well, does our tax rate decrease if I vote no for this? And again, the answer to that is no. And what happens with our debt service levy is we take care of all of our buildings with those funds too. And so now we've got 10 or 11 buildings in the district, school buildings, transportation, maintenance, and we have HVAC to take care of. We have windows, we have roofs, and maintenance on those things also adds up. So it's not like that tax portion is going to go to zero if we continue to vote no on those. We will consistently have that to maintain our buildings. I'd also like to just mention that we have a very good credit rating, and that our district is fortunate to have that. Not many districts in the state of Missouri have a AA- credit rating like we do. That's going to be good for us as we move forward with the budgeting and the no tax rate increase as well. All right, I'd like to invite Mr. Travis Edwards back up to the podium, and he's going to talk a little bit about why did we choose the fifth and sixth grade center.
Thank you, Dr. Pearce. So why did we choose a fifth and sixth grade center? Well, many of you have been around long enough to know that we value the input of stakeholders, and you have probably participated in the season of surveys. And so as we began to experience growth, we sent out a survey to receive input from parents and staff. And one of the things that was really high on the list was the issue of the middle school being overcrowded. Many of you know that our middle school is one of the largest in the state of Missouri. And so we have a lot of students there right now. And again, if you've had a student there, then you've probably had your students come home and talk about how it's crowded there at the middle school. And so as we received this input, we just began to really see that the stakeholders were seeing the middle school as one of the areas where we needed to address. And so the 5-6 building, as I mentioned earlier, is going to allow us to free up space in all 5 elementaries. It's going to allow us to free up space at the middle school, because right now we have little to no room to expand in the elementaries or the middle school. And so it's just, and again, it's going to add that element of a gentle transition for our 5th and 6th grade students. And so that is why we chose the 5th and 6th grade center. At this time, I want to invite Mr. Jason Perkins back to answer the question, where is the land the center would be built on?
So the district spent a quite an extensive period of time searching for land throughout the district to try to find us a nice piece of land that would allow us to not only put one building on, but possibly additional buildings based off of our growth that we're seeing. So we wanted to make sure we were able to set the district up for land for future, not just for the current time. So we spent quite a long time searching for land, and we wanted to make sure the pieces of land that we looked at had good utilities to them with water, sewer, data, electricity. And so when we stumbled across this piece of land, we were very excited. 78 acres of land. It is located right next to a water tower, which on the picture you can see it's located, it borders the new City of Republic Parks and Rec, where they're putting in their new baseball and softball complex. So we are between 2 major highways, and we're able to allow our transportation to go out into the Battlefield area, out into the Springfield area, which is still in our boundaries. So when we looked at all those pieces, we were excited to find this 78-acre piece of land that is not only going to be able to allow us to put the 5-6 building on it, but could allow us for possible buildings in the future. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over back to Dr. Pearce, and he's going to talk about what we're going to do with the rest of the bond money.
All right, thank you, Mr. Perkins. So we talked a little bit about the bond is for $47 million, and we are estimating that the 5th and 6th grade center is going to come in around $42 million. You might recall that we surveyed our staff and our community and our families in early January or maybe it was December about some things that they would like to see. So those survey results came back to us and said that Classrooms at the high school were important, number one. Parking at the high school was also important with a close second. And then we had some other things on there. We do have additional projects, but really feel right now it'd be premature to go too far into those without what we call a gross maximum price on the 5th and 6th grade building. So what that means is once our architects are done planning and our general contractor has put everything out to bid and we get all those back, we're going to have something called a gross maximum price, which basically means that they're guaranteeing that this building is not going to cost more than this. We're expecting to get that in September. And so when we get that, we will then know how much additional funds we have to look at classroom space at the high school or any kind of renovations that we would want to do to increase space, and also maybe look at the parking lot. So those are the first things that we would look to do with the additional funds, and just making sure that we're taking care of our needs of growth that we're expecting of more students as we move into the future. Okay, again, what happens if the proposal doesn't pass? That's been a question that I have had several times. If the proposal doesn't pass, we will go back to the drawing board. We will review with our community either why they didn't like it or why they felt they couldn't support it. And we'll listen, and we'll then go back to our Board of Education and ask them for some guidance. If it does not pass, I would suspect that within that 2 to 3 year time frame, we would be looking at some modular units at our elementaries and middle school for sure. And while that's not the end of the world, that is more students in an already cramped space. And if you've ever been there for morning drop-off or afternoon pickup as a parent, you know the car lines around McCullough, Price, and Schofield, and also Lyon and Sweeney, they can get crowded and congested. And so I would think that we would have more of that as we continue to put more students in our elementary schools and in our middle school. So hopefully we don't have to go there, but if we do, we'll talk to voters, we'll review with the board, and then we'll see what our next steps are. Okay, what will I see on the ballot? So your ballot language that you're going to see on the ballot is right here in front. And so basically you're reading through this, and if you're check marking yes, that means you're going to support the ballot measure. If you're check marking no, that means that you're not going to support the ballot measure. And as a district, we need to have 57.14% of our community vote yes in order to support and pass this ballot measure. And so we're hoping that that we can count on those of you who are listening to share the information that you've learned tonight. We do encourage everybody to get out and vote for not only for our bond issue, but to vote for school board elections as well. That is again next Tuesday, April the 4th. The polls open at 6 a.m. and they close at 7 p.m. And we encourage you to learn more about the ballot issue beyond what we've shared tonight at republicschools.org/bond issue. You can also just go to our website and find ways to learn more. You could also give us a phone call and we'd be happy to discuss that with you. So I want to thank you for your time tonight. And I want to encourage everybody to get out and vote on Tuesday, and go Tigers.